Hey guys, I wanted to take a couple of minutes and show you one of the other stretches that I'm doing for my hip flexor these days. This is probably within the last 2 or 3 months, but I found this a really cool addition to be able to open up the hip capsule a little bit more. I am running into a lot of challenges with a lot of the athletes that I work with, as well as my clients and people that have been training for quite some time. The body over time just gets, a little ornery. So I came up with this stretch and it's been very effective for me, and I do it in a couple of different stages. So let me show you on one side the process. It takes me probably about 3 to 5 minutes to do a side, and I'll just camp out in it and I'll show you what it looks like. So basically you can use a standard flat bench, and what you want to do is extend your body on the bench here. Obviously the one leg and your pelvis on the bench, and then I'm going to take the other foot on the opposite side of the bench and I'm going to bring it out as far forward as I can. And I'll stay in this low position here, and as you can see, I'm only bringing my pelvis up off the bench a little bit, and part of that is because in this position it's pretty tight, my hip flexor. So what I'm doing is I'm going to squeeze the glute on this one side on my left leg. I'm going to tighten it up, and I'm just going to start a pumping action. And if I look straight ahead, and I always use the analogy or the visual of a clock in my mind's eye to keep people focused on what position they want to try to focus on driving their body position at that particular point with that particular stretch or movement, like the multi-directional lunge. As I'm driving forward, I have my right elbow on my opposite leg, the right leg, and obviously you see my forearm here on the bench. I'm going to squeeze the glute, and I'm just going to drive. And as I'm driving my hip with a bouncing action, and my head and eyes are pointed forward here at about 12 o'clock, I'm going to start to rotate my head and shoulders and open up my pelvis to one side. Again, continuing to squeeze that glute, and I'm going to open, and then I'm going to go all the way over and I'm going to close it off on this side. So when I refer to opening and closing, if this is my open side, I refer to closing and rotating my pelvis inward as closing, bringing it across the midline of the body. So I'm going to pump that action, and I'm going to open up that hip, and I'm just going to open it, and then I'm going to start to rock it side to side, and I'm going to search out and scour around until I find an area that's pretty tight, and it'll, give you a little yellow light. It'll say, hey, this is pretty hot, and we're going to just hang out there. We're going to stretch it and just kind of relax into it, and then inhale and exhale as I go through this process with some deep diaphragmatic breathing. And I'll use this to open up. Now my left side, typically very tight hip flexors are tight. The low back, the quadratus, the lumborum, the psoas is tight, the obliques are tight. Again, from years of just training. And, some of you might be just sitting at a desk most of the time, so you might be that athlete, through high school and college that stopped and continued to train, but just never really stretched out. So this particular stretch really addresses one area in the hip capsule. Now the next step is to extend up into this position here. And so now, as I have my full arm extension, give yourself a good grip on this bench. You don't want to slide off of it, but again, you're going to be squeezing the glute, and now I'm going to drive down, and I've opened that hip up even more so I get more flexibility. So now you can see that I twist into it, I go to this open side, and then I'll go back into it and go for this closed side, and really, really get that stretch. And I'll stay in this position, again, 3 to 5 minutes, and then I'm just going to pick everything up, and I'm going to open up and go to this other side, and I'll do exactly the same thing. I'll try to get that bouncing action at 12 o'clock. I'll go open and close. I'll scour around. I'll come up into the full extension. I'll open and close, and I'll feel the oblique. I will feel the psoas. I will feel, my abdominal stretching. I will feel that hip flexor. Every area that's pretty tight in this pelvic region. Again, for a lot of us, through years of training, those areas get very tight. This is just one of my go-to stretches. It's part of my philosophy to get everybody into a pattern of movement specific to their body. When they come in, they warm up, they have their go-to movements that they use to prepare their body better for exercise. If you are that athlete, if you are that sports professional currently, if you are ex-military, if you are civil servant, meaning cops, firefighters, anybody that's really dependent upon their body for their livelihood, when your body isn't firing and functioning correctly, it's really a pain in the butt. And I get really, really upset when my body's not firing correctly. So this is just another tip. My name is Emile Jarreau from M2 Fitness Pros LBC on Pine in Long Beach, Cali. You can take a look at us on the web. Take a look at any one of the other videos. They're very helpful. Just click through the group. And you can see some of the things that I do in my off time. And of course, there is no off time. There's always something to do with the body. Talk to you soon. My name. Peace.